May in my bullet journal is all about dark academia. Inspired by old libraries and vintage charm, I'm trying to invoke a cozy, mysterious, candlelit quality. Let me show you how it all came together. Hi, I'm Erin, and I'm really enjoying a dark and moody vibe right now. I'm working in my own journal for this setup, which is the TIEFOSSI A5 Song Brocade journal, and most of what I'm using for this setup comes from the Academia collection from Paper Monogatari. As always, there'll be links in the description to everything that I'm using in this video wherever possible. Some of those links are affiliate links, so if you use those links to make a purchase, I will make a little commission, kinda like a finder's fee. Anna, the owner of Paper Monogatari and fellow content creator here on YouTube, was so kind to send me both her Swan Lake and her Academia collections. I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use for May, so I polled my channel members and the results were really close, but it is coming into autumn here in the Southern Hemisphere, so it felt right to go with the Academia collection for this time of year. I'm not usually someone who's really drawn to brown and beige tones, so it's very interesting that 3 of my themes in a row now have had them. And while I did go through and pencil out where all of the functional parts of my layouts would go before I jumped in and started setting things up, I didn't plan where any of the decorations were going to go ahead of time. I really just experimented and played as I went, and I found that really fun and effective, particularly for this cover spread because I didn't really know how I wanted to use things. I just knew I wanted to completely fill both pages. This Gothic architecture clear stamp is from Caffe Crema, and I thought it would make a nice piece of layering to have that right on top of this text paper on the right side here, and then stick some more things over the top of that so it just peeks through. Everything else was just experimentation, trial and error. I would lay things down and move them around and change my mind. This process is very intuitive, and I think I enjoy it more because of that. If you're playing with different separate pieces like this and come up with something you really like the look of, I recommend that you take a photo of it before you destroy it so that you can stick everything down, because I never remember where I had everything and it ends up different, but that's okay too. This and an audiobook is so relaxing to me. I really recommend it as a great way to unwind. Also, if you use very fine ephemera like these frames in your journal and you don't have a glue pen like this one yet, you definitely need one in your life. They are so strong. They always surprise me with how well they stick to things, and you can get into really fine areas, so you can't go wrong. If you're a massive Paper Monogatari fan like I am, you might find that mixing things from the Academia collection and the Tiny Bookshop collection works really well. I have definitely found that myself. And I'm mixing in a couple of other things from my existing collection too. So I have a sticker sheet from Caffe Crema that I'll use a few times, some old bronze item stickers that I got from JOURNALSAY a while ago, and a William Morris honeysuckle design washi tape that's from Paper Blanks. Way back in November, I started learning italic calligraphy, which is a style that uses a broad nib, and I haven't used it in my journal yet because I didn't feel like I was practiced up enough to do it well, but I decided May is the time to challenge myself because italic calligraphy feels like it goes really well with an academia theme, so it's time. I'm still learning, but I think using it in my journal is a really effective way to practice, actually. So I'm using the broad nib that came with my Tom Studio Lumos Pro Duo pen. That's a really nifty pen that you can ink up with any dye-based fountain pen ink as long as it doesn't have any shimmer to it. So I've teamed it up with the Robert Oster collaboration with Coffee Monster for this one. I think it's a really good match to the theme. I don't think you can get this Coffee Monster ink anymore, unfortunately, but I think Robert Oster's Caffe Crema ink is not too far off. For a cover spread like this, you really can just keep working on it forever, just keep layering things and adding extra textures and taking up more space. I really wanted to keep my decoration somewhat centered on each of the pages and have a decent mix of contrast in there. I was happy to get some fairly dark tones in. I also wanted some lighter tones. I just kept tweaking things until I was happy with how it looked, and I have relied heavily on this PET tape here that has the Kiss Cut stickers on it from the Paper Monogatari Academia collection. It has really done a lot of the heavy lifting for me all the way through this theme, because it has these little corners that look like ripped paper anyway, so you don't even have to do the tearing, you can just lay those straight down on the page. Phenomenal layering tool. I couldn't recommend it more. And if you do love some of the elements you're seeing here, but you aren't keen to commit to the whole Academia collection, you can get these things individually as well. I have very subtly used some of the stickers from the Tiny Bookshop collection to turn this into something of a quote page too. I think all of the quotes on that sheet are from books, potentially. I don't recognize all of them, but the ones I've included, if I put them together, almost make their own poem. So it says, "The sky is no longer the limit. Go where you feel the most alive. Better terrible truths than kind lies. Breathing dreams like air." Let me know if you recognize any of those from books, because I'm very curious. We've moved on now to the cover spread, which is just a calendar where I write down anything that I have coming up for the month, whether that's an event or a reminder or a birthday. On an A5 dot grid journal like this, my preferred calendar size is usually 4 dot grid spaces wide by 4 dot grid spaces tall for each calendar area. I find that leaves me enough room to write down what I need to write down in that space without taking up so much space I don't feel like I have room left over for decoration, because the decoration is really important to me. And I'm actually using the same pen that I used for the lettering earlier, just using a different side of the pen. This one is a dual tipped pen. You can have 2 inks and 2 nibs going at once, so I have just a black fine liner in the other end. I've actually just inked that up with the black Tom Studio ink that comes with the pen, and I've switched back to the broad nib to do my initials for each day of the week along the top of the calendar. I don't usually make these so big, but something that is unique to this style of lettering is that the size of the letter has to relate to the width of the pen nib, so the size of the nib kind of dictates how large I need to write with this one. And the way that you form some of the letters is quite different to what I'm used to as well. For instance, these S's, not a way I have ever done an S before getting into italic calligraphy, but it's actually really effective. I also wanted to make sure I was keeping my colours quite consistent here, so I thought I'd go ahead and colour in the area above each of my calendar spaces. This is where the number for each day of the month will go. I'm just using the broad nib to colour those in as well. It's definitely not as swift and straightforward as colouring it in with a brush pen, where you can kind of do the whole row in one stroke, but I didn't mind the patchy effect. I feel like it almost looks like an ink stain, or a coffee stain given the name of the ink. I definitely don't plan to decorate as hard through the rest of the setup as I did on the cover spread, but I wanted to make sure I had some of those elements represented all around here too, so that it really feels like the same theme as the cover spread. So we're continuing those rich, warm, reddish dark browns, definitely continuing with the architectural influence, so the chandeliers, the windows, and I'm really enjoying the slightly fantastical element of the bust statues. I think they're so elegant and beautiful. And Anna has quite a few of those included in the Academia collection, so that's fantastic because I can just keep reusing them without them looking repetitive. I'm also using just one window from a Leela Journals tape that I think works really well with the theme here. I knew I had this one, I have the whole roll, but this one I'd cut off at some point and it was in my reusable sticker book and I knew it was there, so I thought this is the time to give you a home. This PET sticker roll from Paper Monogatari has all of these tiny little sparkle stickers as well, which are so great for just filling in the gaps and connecting your design and making things look extra magical. I really enjoy having stickers like that. And since they're so tiny, they don't bulk up your page design, and they also don't bulk up your journal. Since I got into junk journaling, I have definitely been pushing my journal a little bit further than I used to, because I'm generally including thicker things like postcards or cards that come with orders that I place because they're beautiful and pretty and sentimental and I want to remember those things, but they definitely bulk up the journal a lot more. So where I can in my monthly setups, I'm definitely trying to stick to stickers and washi tape, really thin things, so that I'm not kind of pushing my journal further than its limits. That said, I have not seen any signs of stress from this journal yet, and I think that's a testament to the quality of the journals from TIEFOSSI, who are also the sponsors of this video. If you're in the market for a new journal for the second half of the year, it's time to start thinking about it, and TIEFOSSI's range of whimsical, vintage-inspired covers has something for everyone. I just got my hands on 2 of their new Moonlight Melody range, the blue and the green A5 journals, and you'll be seeing one of these on my channel really soon as the new mystery journal. Do these not look like they could be full of vintage fairy tales? I love them so much. But if A5 isn't your area, they do also have some B5 and some A6 journals in case you like a pocket-sized notebook. If you did want to jump in and grab one for yourself, make sure you use my discount code Erin Smith at checkout to save 10% on your order. But before you do that, what if I told you TIEFOSSI and I were running a little giveaway? 2 lucky winners will receive the TIEFOSSI journal of their choice. But there are a few things you need to do to enter this giveaway. First, you need to be subscribed to my channel and TIEFOSSI's channel here on YouTube. You need to be following both of us on Instagram, and you need to leave a comment on this video telling me how long a journal usually takes for you to fill up. There are links to all of the appropriate YouTube and Instagram accounts down in the description, and I'll be announcing the winners of this giveaway on the 1st of May over on the posts tab on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much to TIEFOSSI for sponsoring this video, for working with me on this giveaway, and for making such beautiful journals. Now let's turn the page and move on to my next spread. For the past few months in my journal, this next page was always for my goals, for things I'm looking forward to and things that I'm working on for the month, but I've been really missing having a space to write my favorites. So I'm adding that back in. This is now going to be goals, favorites, anticipating, because I wanted 1 word rather than 2 for this one, and working on down the bottom. I've set the page up in kind of a grid with 8 spaces, and I'm alternating which of those grid spaces has the planning space. The area to the side of it will just be decoration, so the decoration will flow down the page around the planning space. I struggled a little with the size of the lettering here. It's definitely larger than I would typically go for something like this, but I think it worked out okay. The anticipating lettering technically goes a little bit past the halfway mark of the page, but I don't think it's a big deal, especially once the decorations are down. While I've got the pen handy and I'm kind of in the flow of lettering, I thought I'd go ahead and do the habit lettering on the other side too. Obviously, this is a page for my habit trackers. I like to track 6 habits across the month, but they aren't always the same habits from month to month. So I'm not going to put headings on each of these habits yet. I'm just going to add a line here. This is actually going to be for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and add the actual habit title later. There is nothing worse than when you're erasing and you mess up the corner of your page like that. It's so frustrating, but I always find if I just kind of roll the page back out and bend it in the opposite direction, things kind of even back out and it's not too bad. I really take a bit of a piecemeal approach when I'm decorating a spread like this. I'll start just by adding layers of the washi tape, and then I'll build up things from there until it feels like it's balanced enough and there is enough of the theme represented on the spread for my liking. Also, when the washi tape is positioned right next to the page edge like that, I really like it to be nice and straight and in alignment. These habit trackers are actually tiny little calendars, which means I need to write out the numbers from 1 to 31 6 times, which is not the most exciting thing in the world to watch, so let's make a little bit of editing magic happen here. This is something that used to make my hand really hurt, but I guess years of journal conditioning have really helped me out there, and now it's not a problem at all. So if you're having trouble with lots of tiny numbers, just know that if you stick with your journal for a few more years, you'll get to a point where this becomes really easy. That's all the functional stuff down on this spread now, so we can just fill in the gaps with some stickers. not me for ever changing my mind about sticker placement. Let's move on to my routine spread. This one was a new addition for me back in January, and I did actually forget it in March, but I've been really enjoying having this spread. As much as I haven't really found a routine that works for me yet, working through it in these spreads every month has been really helping. Something it has really made me aware of is that I am not a work in the morning kind of person. I think I've always wanted to be that, and so I would kind of weight the important tasks in my day towards the beginning. Turns out that doesn't really work for me, and I kind of need a slow morning to get going. I've also discovered that I really need to make my exercise happen at night and not in the morning. You know how people say, oh, I worked out this morning and then I felt so energized for the day. Not me. Couldn't be me. Couldn't tell you why. I'd rather do it at like 8 o'clock at night. Lucky for me, that is when my dance practices happen anyway, is in the evenings, so that works out really well. And I'm finding with the gym, I would rather do my weights at night as well. When I started this routine system, I thought I'd be assigning like days that I film, days that I do voiceover, days that I do admin tasks. That hasn't panned out for me very well either. I just don't feel like I can be quite that rigid. And I also feel like I need to really incorporate my partner's schedule into these things because he also needs to make noise for his work. He's a musician. We're both self-employed, so it's not very fair for me to say, hey, I need you to not do your work so that I can do my work. So we really plan our schedules around each other with regard to this, and that works really well for us. But while ever my routine is not yet nailed down, I'm still hunting for the thing that works for me. I will continue to have this spread, unless I get bored of it, in which case I might take it out. But for now, I'm still finding it really useful, so the routine spread stays. Obviously, this one's pretty self-explanatory, I think. The left page is for outlining the routine that I'm trying or that I think might work for the month, and the right page is for some reflection on that, what I find is working and that I'm going to take forward from that, and what I have learned is not working and should be left behind or adapted. Something that I'm not doing in this setup with my beautiful Tom Studio Lumos pen is a second line highlight. I feel like that kind of thing works best with a brush pen, and I didn't want to introduce any brush pens, so I'm sticking to just the Lumos. And with that in mind, rather than a second line highlight, I thought I would just go with drawing some lines, making my notebook into something of a lined notebook for myself, but only in the areas where I want the lines. I have definitely found that I don't love a lined notebook anymore. Having gone grid notebooks about 7 or 8 years ago, I find lined notebooks just don't do it for me anymore. They're not flexible enough. But in a situation like this, I think a line can be quite useful, and I'm only putting them where I want them, so I can't complain about that. Onward to another essential spread. This one has evolved over time into kind of something quite simple, and it really works for me, but sometimes when I look at it, I go, is that a weekly? Why did I put the dates like that? And then I get confused. This is my content planner or my content calendar, and that's why it only has Tuesdays and Fridays on it, because those are the days that I post videos to YouTube, at least somewhat. I kind of post them the following day technically, but it's at 2 a.m, so I try to make sure the video is ready the previous day. So I call it Tuesday and Friday, even though the video is technically going up at 2 a.m. Wednesday and Saturday for me. Unless I'm having technical issues, which I have been lately. I updated Adobe Premiere and things went really haywire, and it took me a while to get everything back on track. So I have missed a post. I didn't have the Tuesday video go up this week because I've been wrestling with software. Thank you so much for your patience. I think we're back on track now. So I like to lay this out so all the Tuesdays are in a column and all the Fridays are in a column so that it's really clear where things are happening throughout the month. And I use the planning space to pop in the title or the concept of the video that's going up on that day, and to add a bit of a checklist under that for the things I need to do to get the video live. So that can be different from one video to the next, but some things like exporting, uploading, thumbnails are always the same. So it's nice that I can have a little checklist here. I'm trying to come up with a way that I can make this quicker to set up, a little bit more sustainable if I'm keeping the checklist going. That's the kind of thing that would probably make more sense to be digitally organized, but I like paper better, so I'm still thinking about it. For now, this system is working pretty well though. And the way the page has laid out, it's left me with a nice natural area for decoration on the bottom of the right page and in the top left corner of the left page. So I'm going to add as much fun stuff there as I can, but also leave a little bit of room for the content planner header. This bookshelf washi tape is also from Paper Monogatari. This one is from the Tiny Bookshop collection, and it is probably one of my favorite bookshelf washis I have ever seen. I love a bookshelf washi, but this one just feels so cozy. We've only got one spread left for this video, and that is the first weekly spread for May. Although, because of the way I like to set up my weeklies, I always like to keep a whole week together from Monday through to Sunday. That means the first few days of this weekly will actually be in April, because slightly more of the number of days in this week fall into May. That means that I put it in my May pages, in my May setup. Does that make sense? So the Monday in this spread will be the 28th of April, but the Sunday will be the 4th of May. I'm going for a horizontal weekly here, which is not usually my preference, but the aesthetic of it that I had in my mind when envisioning this was so nice that I was like, you know what, we'll deal with it. I just feel like a horizontal weekly is less conducive to list making, but you can kind of divide things into smaller categorized lists with this, so I don't know, maybe I'll even like it better this time. Sometimes my tastes change. I've lined the top and bottom of the spread with some washi tape, and then I'm dividing the space that remains into 4 sections with 3 lines, and then adding some stickers that alternate sides. And I haven't planned it out very well. I'm going to need to move some of these stickers I'm placing at the bottom, but essentially the decoration will be on the top left and then the right side, and then the left and then the right side, which is why I need to move this candelabra sticker. And then the name and the number for each day of the month, the Monday the 28th, Tuesday the 29th, and so on and so forth, will sit next to those stickers as well, so that everything is kind of weighted to that side, and I hopefully have plenty of room left over for planning. My weekly spreads are where I spend most of my time in my journal. I do all of my to-do lists here, and any events that were on my calendar spread get transferred into these pages as well, so they end up with quite a bit of text on them, which is why I wanted this one to be a little bit more on the minimal side, so that once all of that text is added in use, it will be a little bit more busy. And I thought I would bring in these functional stickers with the days of the week. These are also from Paper Monogatari, but these ones are from the Pumpkin Spice collection, which is the last autumn collection. While I've been working my way through this setup, I've ended up with lots of stickers left over on some offcuts kind of this sticker roll. So I'm trying to make sure that I can use up a few of those here to really bring some extra interest to the spread, balance things out, especially the little sparkles. I want to put those kind of everywhere and really use those ones up so I'm not wasting any of the tape. Because once you start to remove most of the stickers from the tape, your brain kind of stops wanting to use that and just wants to go back to the full selection on the untouched roll. So this way I try to make sure that I'm using up those extra bits, and anything that doesn't make it into the journal, either on this weekly or on the ones that I haven't set up yet for the rest of the month, will just go into my sticker book, my handy little reusable Stash World sticker book, so that I still have these the next time I want something like this. I've actually taken to, if I'm going to be journaling outside of my house and I am setting up a junk journal spread or something like that, I'll only take my sticker book and I'll try to challenge myself to only use items from that sticker book to put together a spread. Not for a themed setup like this, because it's a very eclectic mix of stuff that ends up going into the sticker book, but for something like a memory keeping page or for sometimes in my reading journal. It's really fun sometimes to limit what you're using to see if it can make you more creative. And it's a really good way to use up your stash too, particularly things that you might forget that you have because out of sight, out of mind. I had decided at this point I wanted a bit more darkness on this first spread, so I added some of the black washi tape, and then we are all set for May. It's feeling cozy, it's feeling a little mysterious, it's feeling moody and gothic and vintage, and I am so excited to get to live in these pages for a whole month in May. Don't forget to enter my giveaway with TIEFOSSI to potentially win your own beautiful pages to live inside. All the giveaway information you need is in the description down below, as well as links to everything I used to put together this setup. I usually fit 6 months to a journal very comfortably, so I can't believe I've only got 1 month left in this journal and then I get to start a new one. If you'd like to keep watching, here is a playlist of the previous videos I've set up in this journal so far this year, and underneath that is a link to a video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy.